Welcome back to Wiser Reads, the channel where we distill the world's most powerful books into practical wisdom you can apply in your daily life. In today's video, we'll explore The Art of Strategic Thinking, a book that reveals how mastering the way you think can completely transform the way you act, plan, and succeed. We live in a world overflowing with noise, distractions, and constant change. Many people react to circumstances as they come, but very few take the time to step back and think strategically. That's where the true advantage lies. Strategic thinking is more than setting goals or creating to-do lists. It's about cultivating foresight, anticipating challenges, and designing actions that align with a bigger vision. It's the mindset that allows leaders, innovators, and everyday individuals to move with clarity even in uncertainty. In this summary, we'll break down the key principles of strategic thinking, how to see the bigger picture without losing sight of details, how to balance short-term actions with long-term outcomes, and how to make decisions that not only solve today's problems but also shape tomorrow's opportunities. You'll also learn why adaptability, creativity, and the ability to ask the right questions are essential skills for any strategist. Whether you're making career moves, building relationships, running a business, or simply trying to live with more intention, the lessons from The Art of Strategic Thinking will give you tools to navigate complexity with confidence. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with a deeper understanding of how to sharpen your mind, anticipate challenges, and design your own path to success. So, let's dive in and uncover the timeless wisdom of the art of strategic thinking.
Introduction: Why Strategic Thinking Matters. The introduction lays the foundation by explaining why strategic thinking is essential in today's fast-changing world. Unlike ordinary problem-solving, which focuses on immediate issues, strategic thinking emphasizes foresight, context, and the ability to connect present actions with long-term goals. It is the difference between reacting to life and intentionally shaping it. The author highlights that every individual, whether a business leader, student, or professional, faces choices that extend beyond the present moment. Strategic thinking helps us anticipate change, recognize patterns, and prepare for opportunities before they appear obvious. It sharpens our ability to step back, see the broader picture, and make decisions that not only solve today's problems, but also prevent tomorrow's. A key point raised is that the modern world is more uncertain than ever. Technology, globalization, and shifting markets create environments where plans can quickly become outdated. Strategic thinking, therefore, is not a rigid plan, but a flexible mindset that allows for adaptation. It combines analysis with creativity, logic with imagination, and action with patience. The introduction also stresses that strategy is not reserved for generals, CEOs, or politicians. It is a skill everyone can develop. Whether deciding on career paths, financial moves, or personal growth, strategic thinking enables us to align decisions with deeper values and long-term vision. Ultimately, the author argues that those who master this art gain an advantage. They stop drifting with circumstances and start steering with purpose. Strategic thinking matters because it transforms uncertainty into opportunity, confusion into clarity, and challenges into stepping stones for growth. It is not just about succeeding in competition, but about living with intention and foresight.
Defining strategy beyond plans and goals. In this chapter, the author clarifies a common misconception. Strategy is not just about writing plans or setting ambitious goals. While goals give us direction and plans outline steps, true strategy is about understanding the why and how behind those actions. It is the framework that links vision, resources, and decisions in a way that maximizes long-term impact. The author explains that many people confuse strategy with tactics. Tactics are the specific actions we take, like launching a product, negotiating a deal, or running a campaign. Strategy, however, is the guiding principle that determines which actions are worth pursuing and why they will move us closer to our larger vision. Without this distinction, individuals and organizations risk becoming busy without being effective. A key point raised is that strategy always considers the bigger picture. It requires us to analyze our environment, anticipate obstacles, and evaluate trade-offs. A well-defined strategy is not rigid. It is adaptive, allowing us to shift tactics while staying true to our purpose. In essence, it is less about having a detailed roadmap and more about cultivating a compass that guides us through uncertainty. The chapter emphasizes that strategy also involves alignment. For organizations, this means ensuring that departments, teams, and resources work in harmony toward a shared vision. For individuals, it means aligning daily choices with long-term aspirations. When alignment is achieved, efforts become focused and efficient instead of scattered. Ultimately, the author concludes that defining strategy requires depth of thought. It is not a one-time exercise, but an ongoing process of reflection and adjustment. By looking beyond plans and goals, we can create strategies that are flexible, resilient, and powerful enough to turn vision into reality.
The mindset of a strategic thinker. This chapter explores the mental habits and attitudes that distinguish a strategic thinker from an ordinary decision maker. The author argues that strategic thinking begins with perspective, the ability to step back from immediate pressures and see patterns, connections, and long-term implications. Instead of reacting impulsively, strategic thinkers pause, reflect, and approach situations with curiosity rather than fear. A central trait is foresight. Strategic thinkers don't only focus on the present moment, they constantly ask, what might happen next, and how will today's choices shape tomorrow's outcomes? This forward-looking mindset allows them to anticipate opportunities and prepare for risks before others even notice them. Another important quality is flexibility. A strategic thinker avoids rigid attachment to one plan. Instead, they remain open to new information and adjust their approach as circumstances change. They combine analytical thinking with creativity, balancing logic with imagination to find solutions that others might overlook. The chapter also highlights the importance of questioning assumptions. Rather than accepting things at face value, strategic thinkers challenge conventional wisdom and seek deeper understanding. They ask why, what if, and what else, which helps uncover hidden opportunities and prevent blind spots. Finally, the mindset of a strategist is grounded in patience and resilience. True strategy takes time to unfold, and setbacks are inevitable. What sets strategic thinkers apart is their ability to learn, adapt, and persist without losing sight of the bigger vision. In essence, the mindset of a strategic thinker is not about knowing all the answers, but about cultivating awareness, adaptability, and purposeful thinking. It is a way of approaching challenges that transforms uncertainty into opportunity and turns vision into actionable progress.
Vision and foresight, seeing the bigger picture. This chapter emphasizes that strategic thinking begins with the ability to see beyond immediate circumstances and focus on the broader landscape. Vision is the mental image of a desired future, while foresight is the skill of anticipating potential challenges, trends, and opportunities that may shape that future. Together, they allow individuals and organizations to act with purpose rather than merely react to events. The author explains that seeing the bigger picture requires detachment from short-term distractions and a willingness to examine patterns over time. Strategic thinkers look for connections between seemingly unrelated factors, understanding that small decisions today can have large effects tomorrow. By mapping out possible scenarios, they can prepare for uncertainty and make choices that align with long-term objectives. Foresight also involves understanding context, knowing how external forces, such as market shifts, technology, or social trends, can influence outcomes. Strategic thinkers combine data analysis with intuition, balancing concrete evidence with creative imagination. They don't aim to predict the future perfectly, but to identify plausible paths and prepare for them proactively. The chapter stresses that vision without foresight can lead to unrealistic goals, while foresight without vision can result in cautious but aimless decisions. True strategic thinking integrates both, a clear sense of direction and the ability to anticipate the obstacles and opportunities along the way. Finally, the author encourages cultivating a forward-looking mindset in everyday life. By regularly reflecting on the long-term implications of decisions, individuals can improve clarity, resilience, and adaptability. Ultimately, vision and foresight empower strategic thinkers to navigate complexity, capitalize on opportunities, and maintain focus on what truly matters in a rapidly changing world.
Analyzing complex problems with clarity. In this chapter, the author emphasizes that strategic thinking thrives on the ability to break down complexity into manageable insights. Complex problems often involve multiple interconnected factors, competing priorities, and unclear outcomes. Without clarity, decision-making can become reactive, fragmented, or misguided. Strategic thinkers, however, approach complexity systematically, seeking to understand underlying structures and patterns before acting. A central principle is decomposition. By dissecting a problem into smaller components, we can identify root causes, dependencies, and critical leverage points. This prevents wasted effort on superficial issues and helps focus resources on what truly matters. Strategic thinkers also prioritize questions over immediate answers, asking, "What is the real problem here?" and "What assumptions am I making?" This questioning mindset uncovers hidden challenges and opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. The chapter highlights the importance of perspective. Examining problems from multiple angles, across disciplines, stakeholders, and timeframes, reveals connections and consequences that a narrow viewpoint can miss. Strategic thinkers weigh both qualitative and quantitative information, integrating data with judgment to form a balanced understanding of the situation. Another key lesson is embracing simplicity in communication. Once a complex problem is analyzed, clear articulation of insights allows for better collaboration, alignment, and action. Clarity transforms confusion into actionable strategy, ensuring that teams move forward with purpose rather than hesitation. Finally, the author underscores that analyzing complexity is not about overthinking or paralysis. It is about disciplined observation, structured thinking, and informed judgment. By developing these skills, strategic thinkers turn ambiguity into insight, uncertainty into opportunity, and multifaceted challenges into paths for decisive, effective action.
Anticipating change and uncertainty. In this chapter, the author emphasizes that uncertainty is a constant in both personal and professional life. Strategic thinkers distinguish themselves by not simply reacting to change, but by anticipating it, preparing for multiple scenarios, and turning unpredictability into opportunity. The ability to foresee potential shifts in the environment, markets, or circumstances allows them to make informed decisions even in volatile situations. A key principle is scenario thinking. Instead of relying on a single prediction, strategic thinkers explore a range of plausible futures. They consider best case, worst case, and most likely scenarios, identifying the actions and resources that will be most effective under each.
This approach reduces the risk of being blindsided and increases agility in response to emerging challenges. The chapter also stresses the importance of early detection. Strategic thinkers monitor trends, signals, and weak indicators that others might overlook. By staying attentive to subtle changes, whether technological, economic, or social, they gain lead time to adapt, innovate, or pivot before crises occur. Another vital lesson is embracing flexibility. Since uncertainty is inevitable, rigid plans can fail. A strategic mindset prioritizes adaptable strategies, contingency planning, and the ability to make quick adjustments while maintaining focus on long-term goals. Finally, the author highlights a psychological component, managing the fear of uncertainty. Strategic thinkers cultivate calm, rational decision-making, viewing change as a source of opportunity rather than threat. By combining foresight, adaptability, and measured action, they turn ambiguity into strategic advantage. In essence, anticipating change and uncertainty is about preparation, perspective, and proactive thinking. Those who master this skill can navigate complexity, seize emerging opportunities, and maintain clarity even when the future is unclear, making them more resilient, agile, and effective in achieving their vision.
The power of critical questions. In this chapter, the author emphasizes that asking the right questions is at the heart of strategic thinking. While many people focus on finding answers, strategic thinkers understand that insight begins with curiosity. The quality of your questions determines the clarity of your understanding, the depth of your analysis, and ultimately the effectiveness of your decisions. Critical questions help reveal hidden assumptions, uncover overlooked opportunities, and clarify priorities. Rather than accepting information at face value, strategic thinkers probe deeper. They ask, why is this happening? What if circumstances change? And what are we missing? These questions challenge conventional wisdom, illuminate risks, and guide more deliberate action. The chapter highlights that critical questioning is not just about skepticism, it's about exploration. It encourages open-mindedness and creative thinking, allowing leaders and individuals to consider multiple perspectives. By systematically questioning ideas, plans, and processes, strategic thinkers can identify weaknesses, anticipate problems, and refine strategies before implementing them. Another key point is the distinction between superficial and strategic questions. Superficial questions focus on immediate, obvious details, whereas strategic questions target underlying causes, long-term implications, and systemic patterns. Developing the skill to ask strategic questions requires practice, reflection, and an awareness of both context and objectives. Finally, the author stresses that critical questions drive continuous learning and adaptation. In a world of uncertainty, the ability to question assumptions and explore alternatives ensures that strategies remain relevant and effective. By cultivating a habit of thoughtful inquiry, strategic thinkers gain insight, avoid blind spots, and transform complexity into actionable intelligence. In essence, the power of critical questions lies in their ability to deepen understanding, sharpen decision-making, and unlock opportunities that would remain hidden without deliberate strategic inquiry.
Creativity in strategy. Thinking outside the box. This chapter explores the vital role of creativity in strategic thinking. While strategy often relies on analysis, planning, and logical reasoning, the author emphasizes that innovation and original thinking are equally essential. Strategic thinkers use creativity to identify unconventional solutions, uncover hidden opportunities, and differentiate themselves in complex and competitive environments. The chapter explains that traditional approaches can lead to predictable outcomes. To gain an edge, strategic thinkers challenge assumptions, question norms, and imagine possibilities beyond the obvious. Thinking outside the box involves connecting ideas across disciplines, experimenting with alternative approaches, and embracing unconventional perspectives. It is a deliberate effort to expand the range of options before committing to decisions. A key principle is balancing creativity with discipline. Creative ideas alone are not enough. They must align with the strategic vision and be actionable. Strategic thinkers blend imaginative thinking with practical evaluation, ensuring innovative solutions are both feasible and impactful. The author also highlights the importance of a mindset that encourages curiosity, risk-taking, and openness to failure. By reframing mistakes as learning opportunities, strategic thinkers create an environment where experimentation and creative problem-solving thrive. Another lesson is that creativity and strategy is not limited to extraordinary moments. It can be applied daily by rethinking processes, exploring alternatives, and asking what-if questions. Small creative adjustments can have significant long-term effects. Ultimately, the chapter underscores that thinking outside the box amplifies the power of strategy. It transforms challenges into opportunities, promotes adaptability, and allows individuals and organizations to innovate while maintaining focus on their long-term goals. Creativity is not just an add-on to strategy. It is a core driver of strategic success.
Balancing short-term actions with long-term goals. This chapter highlights one of the core challenges of strategic thinking: managing immediate demands while keeping sight of long-term objectives. Many individuals and organizations become consumed by urgent tasks, losing focus on the broader vision. Strategic thinkers, however, understand that true success lies in harmonizing short-term actions with long-term goals. The author explains that short-term actions are necessary. They drive progress, address immediate problems, and build momentum. Yet without alignment with long-term objectives, these actions can become distractions, consuming resources without advancing meaningful outcomes. Strategic thinkers carefully evaluate daily decisions, asking whether each step moves them closer to their larger vision. A key principle is prioritization. By distinguishing between urgent and important tasks, strategic thinkers allocate effort where it has the most impact. They recognize that not every activity requires immediate attention, and some decisions are better postponed in service of long-term value. This disciplined approach prevents reactive decision-making and promotes intentional action. The chapter also emphasizes feedback and adjustment. Monitoring the outcomes of short-term actions allows for timely corrections and ensures alignment with evolving long-term goals. Strategic thinkers remain flexible, adapting tactics without losing sight of the ultimate vision. Ultimately, balancing short-term actions with long-term goals empowers individuals and organizations to move efficiently, avoid wasted effort, and steadily progress toward meaningful success. It transforms reactive behavior into purposeful, forward-looking action, ensuring that today's decisions build a foundation for tomorrow's achievements.
Decision-making under pressure. This chapter focuses on the critical skill of making effective decisions in high-stakes, time-sensitive situations. Pressure, whether from deadlines, uncertainty, or external expectations, can cloud judgment and lead to impulsive or poorly thought-out choices. Strategic thinkers distinguish themselves by remaining calm, structured, and deliberate, even when circumstances feel urgent. A central principle is mental clarity. Under pressure, emotions can dominate reasoning, creating stress-driven decisions. Strategic thinkers cultivate self-awareness and emotional control, pausing to assess the situation objectively. They gather relevant information, weigh risks and benefits, and prioritize actions that align with long-term goals rather than immediate impulses. The chapter emphasizes decision frameworks as essential tools. Structured approaches such as scenario planning, risk assessment, and pros and cons analysis provide guidance when intuition alone may be unreliable. These frameworks reduce cognitive overload and help maintain focus on key factors, even in complex or rapidly changing environments. Another important point is the value of preparation. Anticipating possible challenges in advance, through planning, simulations, or contingency strategies, enables faster, more confident responses when pressure arises. Strategic thinkers turn uncertainty into manageable variables, reducing the likelihood of reactive or hasty decisions. Ultimately, decision-making under pressure is not about eliminating stress, it's about mastering it. By combining clarity, structured thinking, preparation, and reflection, strategic thinkers transform challenging situations into opportunities for action, ensuring their decisions remain aligned with purpose, vision, and long-term success.
Identifying opportunities and hidden risks. This chapter explores the dual focus of strategic thinking, spotting potential opportunities while remaining vigilant to hidden risks. Strategic thinkers succeed not by avoiding challenges entirely, but by recognizing the landscape in its full complexity, seeing both the paths forward and the obstacles that could derail progress. A key principle is perception and awareness. Opportunities often appear where others see only routine or uncertainty. By observing trends, shifts, and emerging patterns, strategic thinkers identify openings for growth, innovation, and competitive advantage. They remain curious and attentive, scanning both their immediate environment and broader trends that could influence outcomes. Equally important is the ability to detect hidden risks. Many threats are not obvious at first glance. They may lie in assumptions, weak signals, or overlooked dependencies. Strategic thinkers probe deeply, questioning assumptions and examining scenarios to uncover vulnerabilities before they become critical. This proactive approach reduces surprises and strengthens decision-making. The chapter emphasizes balance. Focusing solely on opportunities can lead to reckless decisions, while overemphasizing risks can create paralysis. Strategic thinkers navigate the middle path, evaluating potential gains against possible downsides and adjusting actions accordingly. They use structured tools such as risk mapping, scenario analysis, and contingency planning to inform choices and maintain alignment with long-term goals. Another lesson is timing and agility. Recognizing opportunities is not enough. Action must be timely, coordinated, and responsive to changing circumstances. Likewise, addressing risks requires foresight and adaptability, ensuring that mitigation strategies remain effective as conditions evolve. Ultimately, the ability to identify opportunities and hidden risks empowers strategic thinkers to act with confidence, seize advantage, and avoid pitfalls. It transforms uncertainty into insight, helping individuals and organizations make informed, proactive decisions that drive sustainable success.
Strategic communication and persuasion. This chapter emphasizes that even the best strategies can fail if they are not effectively communicated. Strategic thinkers understand that success depends not only on sound analysis and planning, but also on the ability to convey ideas clearly, inspire action, and influence others. Communication and persuasion are therefore essential tools in turning strategy into reality. A central principle is clarity of message. Strategic thinkers distill complex ideas into concise, understandable points that resonate with their audience. They focus on what truly matters, avoiding unnecessary jargon or distractions. Clear communication ensures alignment, reduces confusion, and enables stakeholders to act decisively. The chapter also highlights emotional intelligence. Persuasion is not only about logic, it involves understanding the motivations, values, and concerns of others. Strategic communicators listen actively, build trust,
and tailor their message to connect with different perspectives, creating buy-in and commitment. Another key lesson is storytelling. Framing strategy in a compelling narrative helps others visualize goals, see their role in achieving them, and understand the consequences of action or inaction. Stories make strategy memorable, actionable, and relatable. The author stresses the importance of timing and context. Effective communication requires choosing the right moment, medium, and tone to maximize impact. Messages delivered without attention to context risk misunderstanding, resistance, or disengagement. Finally, strategic communication is iterative. Feedback loops, dialogue, and adjustments strengthen the message and ensure alignment. Persuasion, in this sense, is not manipulation, but a thoughtful process of influencing understanding and encouraging coordinated action. Ultimately, strategic communication and persuasion bridge the gap between vision and execution. They empower strategic thinkers to inspire action, align teams, and transform well-crafted strategies into tangible results, making them as critical as the strategy itself.
Building alliances and strategic partnerships. This chapter emphasizes that strategy is rarely achieved in isolation. Strategic thinkers recognize the power of relationships and collaboration, understanding that alliances and partnerships can multiply resources, knowledge, and influence. Effective partnerships are not just convenient, they are a strategic advantage that amplifies impact. A key principle is mutual benefit. Successful alliances are grounded in shared interests and complementary strengths. Strategic thinkers identify partners whose goals, values, and capabilities align with their own, creating relationships that are sustainable, balanced, and productive. By focusing on win-win outcomes, they build trust, loyalty, and long-term collaboration. The author also stresses strategic networking. It is not enough to connect randomly. Alliances must be purposeful. Strategic thinkers cultivate networks that provide access to expertise, resources, and opportunities that would otherwise be unattainable. They invest in relationships, nurture communication, and maintain credibility over time. Another important lesson is managing complexity and conflicts. Partnerships can be challenging as differing priorities, expectations, and cultures may arise. Strategic thinkers anticipate potential friction, establish clear agreements, and practice diplomacy to ensure collaboration remains effective and aligned with shared goals. The author also stresses adaptability. Alliances evolve and circumstances change. Strategic thinkers remain flexible, adjusting partnerships as needed while maintaining focus on long-term objectives. Ultimately, building alliances and strategic partnerships is about leveraging relationships to achieve outcomes that cannot be reached alone. By combining foresight, alignment, communication, and adaptability, strategic thinkers create networks that strengthen their strategy, open new opportunities, and increase resilience in an unpredictable world. Partnerships, when managed strategically, become force multipliers that accelerate progress and sustain competitive advantage. Adaptability, shifting when the game changes. This chapter emphasizes that strategic success depends not only on planning, but on the ability to adapt when circumstances change. In today's fast-paced and unpredictable world, rigid strategies often fail. Strategic thinkers distinguish themselves by remaining flexible, responsive, and resilient, adjusting their approach while keeping long-term goals in focus. A key principle is anticipation and responsiveness. Strategic thinkers monitor trends, signals, and early indicators of change, enabling them to act proactively rather than reactively. They understand that unexpected events are inevitable, and success comes from the ability to pivot without losing momentum or clarity. The chapter highlights the importance of mental flexibility. Adaptable strategists embrace new information, challenge assumptions, and reconsider plans when necessary.
They balance discipline with creativity, combining structured thinking with innovative solutions to navigate complexity effectively. Another important lesson is resilience under pressure. Change often brings stress, uncertainty, and setbacks. Strategic thinkers maintain composure, learn from challenges, and use obstacles as opportunities to refine strategies and strengthen their decision-making abilities. The author also stresses continuous learning. Adaptability is cultivated through curiosity, reflection, and openness to new ideas. By consistently evaluating outcomes and experimenting with different approaches, strategic thinkers improve their capacity to respond effectively to shifting circumstances. Ultimately, adaptability is the ability to stay aligned with long-term vision while adjusting tactics in response to evolving realities. It transforms uncertainty into opportunity, helping individuals and organizations remain competitive, innovative, and resilient. By mastering adaptability, strategic thinkers can navigate change confidently, turning disruption into a driver of growth and maintaining strategic advantage even in the most dynamic environments.
Lessons from history's great strategists. This chapter explores how studying the actions and decisions of history's great strategists can provide timeless insights for modern decision-making. The author argues that strategic thinking is not invented in isolation. It evolves through observation, learning from successes and failures, and understanding the principles that guided influential leaders across time. A key principle is learning from patterns. By examining historical strategies, one can identify recurring principles, such as the importance of foresight, preparation, and adaptability. Great strategists recognize that context matters. They analyzed the environment, anticipated competitor moves, and adjusted their tactics to changing circumstances. The chapter also highlights the value of decision under uncertainty. Leaders like Sun Tzu, Napoleon, and Clausewitz faced unpredictable situations and limited information. Yet they made choices that maximized opportunities and minimized risks. Studying their approaches teaches the importance of preparation, scenario planning, and measured risk-taking. Another lesson is innovation and creativity. Historical strategists often succeeded by thinking differently, leveraging unconventional methods, and seizing opportunities that others overlooked. Their willingness to challenge norms and adapt strategies demonstrates the enduring power of creative problem-solving in complex situations. The author emphasizes reflection and humility. Even the most successful strategists learned from their mistakes, analyzed failures, and adjusted future approaches. This mindset of continuous learning is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. Ultimately, the chapter underscores that history is a rich resource for strategic insight. By studying the achievements and missteps of great strategists, individuals can cultivate foresight, adaptability, and judgment. These lessons provide practical guidance for navigating modern challenges, helping us make better decisions, anticipate change, and craft strategies that stand the test of time.
Developing your own strategic toolkit. This chapter focuses on equipping yourself with the skills, habits, and frameworks that enable effective strategic thinking. The author emphasizes that strategy is not an abstract concept. It is a practical discipline that requires tools and techniques to analyze, anticipate, and act with purpose. A key principle is self-awareness. Understanding your strengths, weaknesses, and decision-making tendencies is the foundation of any strategic toolkit. By reflecting on past successes and failures, you can identify patterns in your thinking, recognize blind spots, and develop habits that enhance judgment under uncertainty. The chapter also highlights analytical tools and frameworks. Techniques such as scenario planning, risk assessment, SWOT analysis, and systems thinking provide structured approaches to complex problems. These tools help break down ambiguity, prioritize actions, and evaluate trade-offs systematically, ensuring that decisions are both informed and aligned with long-term objectives. Another essential component is mental flexibility. Strategic thinkers cultivate creativity, curiosity, and openness to new perspectives. This allows them to combine analysis with imagination, identify unconventional solutions, and adapt strategies as circumstances evolve. The author emphasizes the importance of continuous learning. A strategic toolkit is never static. It grows through experience, reflection, and exposure to diverse ideas. Reading widely, seeking mentorship, and observing the strategies of successful leaders all contribute to building a versatile and effective toolkit. Finally, the chapter stresses integration and practice. Tools and techniques are only valuable when applied consistently. Strategic thinkers weave their toolkit into daily decision-making, aligning short-term actions with long-term goals and continuously refining their approach based on outcomes. Ultimately, developing your own strategic toolkit empowers you to navigate complexity, anticipate challenges, and seize opportunities with confidence. It transforms abstract strategy into actionable, repeatable skills, enabling sustained success in a dynamic and uncertain world.
By exploring the art of strategic thinking, we've uncovered how mastering the way we think can transform not just decisions, but our entire approach to life and work. This book teaches that strategic thinking is about seeing the bigger picture, anticipating change, and making choices that align with long-term goals. From developing foresight and asking critical questions to balancing short-term actions with a long-term vision, every chapter equips us with practical tools to navigate complexity with clarity and confidence. We've also seen how creativity, adaptability, and effective communication can amplify the power of strategy, and how learning from history's great strategists and building strong alliances can give us a real advantage in any environment. Ultimately, the book shows that strategy is not reserved for leaders or corporations. It's a skill anyone can develop to turn uncertainty into opportunity and challenges into growth. If you enjoyed this summary and want more insights from the world's best books, make sure to subscribe to Wiser Reads, join our community of curious minds, and gain practical knowledge to think smarter, act with purpose, and make better decisions every day. The journey to becoming a more strategic thinker starts here. Don't miss out.